In terms of the types of crimes that are occurring, it's the full gamut. It's assaults, it's threats, it's assaults of every magnitude, it's threats against other students, it's threats against staff members. So it's the full gamut.
A Creme 2 investigation into safety at schools. The Spokane police chief says Spokane Public Schools isn't doing enough to keep teachers and students safe.
SPS, though, says that's not true. Creme 2's Laura Papetti spoke with the police chief this afternoon and got a response from the district late today. Laura?
That's right. There's a lot of back and forth. So let's walk everyone through the past few days. And it begins on Friday with a strongly worded letter from the chief of police to the superintendent saying the schools aren't following mandatory reporting policies. So taking a look at that. In it, the chief says after reviewing dozens of reports that he saw a, quote, pattern of assaults and threats occurring to students and staff that are not following reporting requirements. Chief Meidel says he looked at 6 months of reports and noticed that crimes occurred on campus but oftentimes weren't being called in until later off campus. In the letter, Chief Meidel says, quote, these laws do not have carve-outs or exceptions for philosophies. I reached out to the police department and the chief agreed to sit down with me for an interview. Chief Meidel says he was hearing reports that school staff members were not only being discouraged from reporting crimes, but actually felt their jobs were in jeopardy if they did indeed file a report.
Some of my officers were telling me that in conversations they've had with teachers or other staff members, that they were not only discouraged from calling law enforcement in many circumstances, they absolutely believe their job was at risk if they did call law enforcement.
Okay, so the letter was sent from the chief to Spokane Public Schools on Friday. The Spokane School District responded with a letter of their own, but to district staff. And in it, they said the district is not aware of any patterns of complaints from families or building staff regarding a failure to comply with mandatory reporting. Then today, after reaching out to the district multiple times, the Spokane School District sent a letter back to Chief Meidel, making several points that they say they take safety very seriously. And we wanted to highlight a few. The district says, quote, the district leadership is not aware of any patterns of complaints, and then goes on to say that SPS principals have indicated that they have actually called 911 and that officers have not responded to their schools. There are several other points in the letter calling out the police department for not communicating about this issue, they say, sooner. The letter also requested a meeting with the police, mayor, and city council. So we'll certainly continue to follow this story, and we'll have more tonight, including more from Chief Meidel and what the letter from the school district contains. That's coming up on Creme 2 News at 6 o'clock.